the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton, joined by Sergeant Walton. Clint, how are you?
I'm excellent.
You know, we've had the opportunity to travel all around the world, and something that has become very clear is that there's a big difference between taking a trip and taking a vacation. And it got me thinking about why time off doesn't necessarily fix burnout for first responders.
It's so funny because I was just thinking about one of our trips recently, and when we go on our trips, like we come back more tired than when we left. And it's so cool because the experiences that we've been able to have and the places that we've gotten to see, it's been amazing. And it's funny for us. It's like, it's hard for us to go somewhere and just sit and sit on the beach and just sit and watch the ocean. And it doesn't mean that we couldn't do that. It's just we want to be able to fit in and experience as much as we possibly can. And so like when we do that, there's always we're go all the time. But one thing that we've always learned is it's important, like we prioritize our sleep over so much other stuff, to where we know that we're going to get a decent amount of sleep every night.
Yeah, and it's a regular routine. And I thought we can explore why burnout isn't about needing a break and how it's about a deeper nervous system depletion, sometimes emotional overload and unresolved stress. And a lot of the times just taking time off alone can't repair that. The psychological concept here is called chronic burnout and nervous system depletion. And I think that a lot of us have probably experienced that, and we might even be experiencing it right now.
Yeah, and I think especially one of the signs that like I've noticed is, you know, you're working so hard all the time and you're enjoying what you're doing, you're loving what you're doing, but you've never been able to come home and completely shut it off. You always have something going on in your mind. You're physically trying to find something else to keep you busy to be able to distract yourself from whatever else you have going on. And it takes a lot of work, and it's hard to get to this point, but it's finding something to be able to completely shut off that work mode. And we've talked about this before, is having that light switch, having this light switch where at work you have it on and it's illuminating your processes. It's being able to say, okay, I'm ready to go. But once you set your routine and have it to where I'm leaving work now I need to switch that light switch off, and you can be able to turn it off.
So burnout occurs when you have prolonged stress and overwhelm that basically is taking over the body's ability to recover. And when the nervous system stays in a cycle of activation without you having proper discharge or regulation, then rest alone is not going to restore your energy. It's basically just going to press pause on the strain. And I want you to think of it how when we were teenagers, remember how emotional things were and how the world and life was so difficult, especially as we transition into adulthood. And what happens is that we realize that the more and more that we take on, our actual threshold begins to change. And when you look back at that compared to everything that you have going on in your adult life, it's a bit humorous. And I think that the most important thing is for us to actualize, okay, what is my threshold? And the way that we do that is we get real with ourselves and we say, okay, when is it that I start to feel this activation take place? And for me, it becomes very aware when my threshold has reached its capacity to where I'm online and I feel like I'm out of focus with life. Like there's so much going on with me inside of my body that my mind can no longer physically focus, and I start to feel that overwhelm. And right away that tells me like, wow, I'm maxed out right now. And so for some people, it could be that they break down and they cry and they just hit that limit. For other people, they retreat and they're totally silent. So it's getting an understanding of you and getting to know you a little bit better and to know when that is happening, and then to have an action plan in your toolbox to be able to turn to. So for me, right away, I know that it's actually a lot to do with these gamma rays that are coming into my brain. So I need to turn off my laptop. I need to get away from all screens. And one of my go-tos is to actually go outside and to get a little bit of sun.
Yeah, being able to go outside and ground yourself and being able to completely remove yourself from that environment that you're consistently in on a regular basis it can be a game changer for a lot of people. When I was carrying a really heavy caseload and was working all the time, there was certain times where I would specifically schedule and I would do the same thing. I would go outside and just walk around. No agenda, just no goal on this is what I need to do. I would just go outside and see where it took me.
I think there are a lot of different signs when it comes to burnout. We're all so unique, and it's such a cool thing because it's just information. And so for some people, they might feel temporarily better when they've had time off, but then you feel quickly drained again. I know for me, when I'm pouring into myself, like I'm good for a while, like weeks, if not months, while. And for other people, they could have a lack of motivation despite them getting that rest. Or maybe you feel super irritable or emotional. Some people might find that when they take a vacation or they do get a good night rest, that they just don't feel that refreshing feeling that you hear other people talk about. And maybe you return to work and then you feel overwhelmed immediately instead of, I'm rested and I feel good and I've got this.
Yeah, being able to have the tools to be able to switch yourself from being in that burnout stage, and even though you get that good rest, you're to this point is one. I think one of the big things is reformatting our way of thinking about what we're doing, because I think that can kind of change those dynamics too, because you're not carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders on a regular basis. You can carry it when you need to, but you need to be able to offload that when you don't.
Yeah, and I'm very in tune with my nervous system. So when I was telling you about that max load that I feel with me being disconnected from life and difficult to focus, that tells me like, Ash, your nervous system is on overload right now. You need to do something to regulate it. So by switching my environment and giving my heart rate a little bit more of a rest, deep breathing, some people turn to meditation. Maybe you want to have a silent prayer, like whatever the go-to is for you, whatever you're doing in that state, your body is telling you like, hey, do something totally different than you're doing right now.
Yeah, having those breaks, having those cues to be able to get your nervous system and your whole mindset out of what is creating this problem is super important, and being able to switch that dynamic is going to help so much.
We hear a lot of people say like, oh man, I need a vacation, or I just need a day off, or maybe I need a break from the kids. And something that I think is even more valuable than any of that is having micro recovery habits. So my micro recovery habits are definitely taking a bath in Epsom salts. I have my bath bombs. I have these bags of tea that go inside of your bath. Sometimes I'll just sit with, we have a lover dog, and sometimes a micro habit is to literally just see her looking at you and going and cuddling her. Your nervous system is going to instantly relax. And, there's a lot of, I mentioned going outside. There's so many different micro habits that we can do to pour into ourselves every day, and it makes such a big difference.
And I think it's important to have that support system in place with your spouse, with your loved ones, because Ashley recognizes with me sometimes when I'm tired, when I'm going through something, she'll look at me and say, let's go out and have a date day to where we can break away from our normal routine and to get ourselves out of the environment that we're traditionally in.
We mentioned the difference between taking a vacation and taking a trip. And for us, sometimes we go all out on a trip, and it's usually outside of the country. But on a regular basis, 2 or 3 times a year, we'll schedule vacations to go to Vegas. We don't feel tired when we go to Vegas because we don't have the dogs. We get to sleep in. We have no agenda at all. We play things by ear. We eat foods we never eat, like all those things. And other times we'll go with our friends to have these like lunch extravaganzas where we go on these food tours and find random places to try new foods. So all of those types of things are great to be able to incorporate just making sure that something is on the schedule, because I think having something to look forward to also makes a difference.
Absolutely. And I think, especially for me, having something to look forward to be able to plan for it, to look forward to get you out of that circle that you're traditionally in, and having that mental escape, getting to, like, for me, like really planning something out like that excites me, and I enjoy doing it. Doesn't mean we're going to do everything that I plan or find, but it gets us out of that normal kind of, this is what I have to do on my day to day.
And it's so important for us to process our stress instead of storing it. And something as simple as, I'm very like verbal, right? Like I'm Italian. So whatever it is, like it's coming out. I don't ever keep anything bottled up, but a lot of people do. So something as simple as literally stating the obvious, like that really fucking sucks. And you hear me all the time, like just pointing out whatever the suck is, doing something, whatever you need to do, go punch a punching bag or something, letting that stress out, verbalizing it, and don't just keep it bottled up, because a lot of the times I feel like we're just, when we accumulate things, it's just going to overfill.
And another cool tool is, and this is where I talk about this a lot with some partners, is learn something new. Have those pattern interrupts on a regular basis, because when you do that, that starts changing those dynamics.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below, and as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.
Some days you just want to amplify your everyday look. Like when you want the look of false lashes without the extra effort, reach for Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Volumizer Mascara. Or when you want all eyes on your smile, keep Empower Gloss Ultra Glossy Lip Serum in your bag. It's a burst of 24-hour hydration that smooths like a serum, shines like a gloss, and can be worn sheer or layered. You'll always look and feel your best with Thrive Cosmetics. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin, not against it. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.